Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am very excited to be back. I did take a day off to kind of recoup from my 2-day class that we hosted here in Pensacola, Florida. I am so excited to have been able to meet all of you guys. Leave a comment down below if you guys did attend that class. I would love to keep in touch with you guys. But getting back into videos, I'm going to be doing my own nails, and thank my husband for this video because I was going to do a very simple gel manicure and he convinced me not to. So here we are. I'm going to be doing forms again. I want to get extremely comfortable with them as I know you guys really appreciate those type of videos on my channel. So I want to start implementing more sculpting videos, and what better way to do that than practice on here with you guys. So we're going to be basically learning together. I'm starting off by prepping my natural nail. To do so, I'm using my e-file at a speed of 4,000 RPMs, and I am using my Profiles Backstage Mandrel Bit with their purple sanding band in medium grit. So I'm just taking my e-file and very lightly buffing off that shine from my natural nail. Please note that the discoloration on my natural nail is from product that I still have on from my previous sets. I didn't fully soak them off. I don't think I actually soaked them off at all. I went in with my e-file and filed them all the way down until I had a very thin layer. And then I kind of did that over and over again throughout the following few days. Because I had that class going on, I tried to do the removal very, very quickly and I didn't get to soak them off. So I'm just gonna go ahead and continue to buff off that shine, and then we're gonna be prepping that cuticle area. Now getting into our cuticle prep, I am going to be using this needle bit from Profiles Backstage. The difference between this one and the one that I have been using is that the tip of this one is just slightly more rounded, and it seems to be more or less like all the same size throughout the entire barrel, versus the other ones tend to be more on like the cone shaped side, and the tip is extremely sharp. Now I did apparently accidentally delete the footage where I prepped my cuticles with my ball bit, but I did also use a ball bit and I carefully filed around my cuticle just to gently buff off more dead skin. Now I'm going into the acrylic application using forms. I started off with a decent sized bead of acrylic. Now I did switch from my size 12 to a size 14. I accidentally left my brush nice and slanted in a box, so it got deformed. So we're going to be straightening that out, and in the meantime I'm going to be using this size 14. I've been wanting to up my size anyways, so here we are. The only thing that I noticed the difference was that obviously you pick up more product, so I completely forgot, and it kind of caught me off guard on a few of the beads that I picked up, but it went very well after that. So again, I chose a medium-sized bead of acrylic to apply at the tip area, and I started quickly building that outwards to the length that I want. And then we're building up that thickness that we need for this length of nail. So I'm taking, I would say, a small bead of acrylic for the size of this brush, placing that in the middle section, quickly blending that downwards, and then another small bead up in the cuticle area, pushing that up while holding my finger in a downward position, and then gently blending it downwards. Now because I have like my base layer, at this point I would go in and infill any little areas that I might need a little bit more product on, but for the most part the thickness was pretty good throughout the entire nail. So here I'm just prepping my next form, and I am just kind of pinching the tip, leaving the back end of it without pinching, and then as soon as I place it where I want it to be placed, I go ahead and start tightening up that bottom section of the form. As soon as you start connecting the bottom pieces, it starts tightening around your finger. And then I'm just securing that top end, and this form is not gonna go anywhere, I promise. So I'm just taking my Triple X Bond from Not Polish, which is our primer. Taking this time probably a small bead in comparison to the brush, and I'm just going to place it right where the form touches my natural nail, and very quickly I drained out the excess liquid from the back end of my brush because The bigger the brush, the more product it holds, and I want to make sure that my bead does not run all over the place. So if I would have gone directly into that bead to start forming it with a slightly wet brush, it's gonna make it kind of run all over the place, and I want it to stay nice and on the drier end so that it doesn't go everywhere. And you can see that I'm able to really form out that shape that I want, and I'm just tucking in the sides, wiping my brush so that no product gets stuck in it, and tapping until I have that same length. And we are going for a shorter set. Like I said earlier, I wanted to do a really simple gel manicure. I can do basically everything with my nails on except button up my baby girl's clothes, and that just I have a special hate towards buttons currently, so I don't really have anything with buttons, and then here comes my little girl with all her clothes with buttons. So that's why I'm going shorter, to see if that kind of helps the cause. But we're just working our way up into the cuticle area, cleaning up that cuticle area, blending out very carefully. And then I always try to look at the nail from the side profile as well to see if I need to build up any more product. Now for our middle finger, I'm actually going to be doing some encapsulation. So I'm going to be using a very small bead of acrylic, and that's going to be used as my tip or my base. And I'm going to be layering on the flower and more acrylic. So I want to make sure that it's super thin. I feel like sculpting with clear acrylic is so freaking hard. I had to really stare at it to make sure that I was seeing where the acrylic was, and especially because it's such a thin layer, it makes it even harder. But I was able to do it. It came out a little bit less perfect than the nude ones, but honestly that does not matter because I can always go back in and file. So again, I'm just tucking in the sides, and for reference on these forms, I'm going up to a size 4. So wherever the 4 mark is, that's where I'm stopping. That's the length of my nails. And if you guys are not familiar, I typically go to like a 10 or 11. I do them very long. So these are very short for me. I'm gonna go ahead and finish forming that one out. I applied the form on my ring finger as well, prepping with my XXX bond, and then we are going to be forming out that tip extension as well. And then for the pinky, we're just going to be doing nude again, and I'll let you guys just kind of see this process as I basically babbled through the whole beginning part of today's video. Now as I'm going, I am removing those forms, so I did go ahead and take the other ones off just to make my life a little bit easier. Now I'm going through all of my dried flowers. These are from Profiles Backstage. I absolutely love the selection, so I'll leave them linked down below. If I can't find them on their site, I will leave similar ones linked down below as well. But I'm basically just going through all of them and kind of deciding what I want. I wanted to go with more of like the pink flowers, yellow, orange. That's always my go-to combo. I don't know why, I think they just go so well, and it screams spring and summer. So I'm picking those out, putting them on my napkin. We're going to be cutting them up, and then I'm going to decide whether I'm going to use them on my nails or not. But I want them to be nice and ready. If I do, I don't have to go digging for them again. So I'm just taking some little stork scissors, cutting them in half, and I kind of measure them on my nail to see what the size is that I would need. And basically half of the flower would work. So I'm just going to be trimming them very carefully. They are very delicate, so you want to make sure you're super, super careful with them. I'm just using my Young Nails brush on glue, and I'm going to be placing some on that acrylic extension that we created, grabbing some tweezers, and then just placing it on top. And we're going to gently kind of push it into that glue while it dries, and it'll adhere very nicely. And you can always add a little bit more glue if you need to, but I like to just try to use the least amount as possible and just really flatten it on there. Now we're going to be adding this cute little leaf, basically doing the same process. We're going to be repeating that on the ring finger as well, and then we're going to be encapsulating. So whenever I'm doing my own nails, I typically just kind of start with a basic idea of what I want to do, and then I just go with it. So I knew I wanted to do some sort of nude always, some flowers encapsulated, of course. I wanted to do forms, and then I wanted to add some sort of more color on top of the nail, but I wasn't sure what I was doing. So at this point, I figured I would go ahead and try to conceal my natural nail as best as possible. So we're just adding very small beads of that and just blending it down very, very gently. I don't want to fully cover those flowers, of course, but I'm just trying to conceal that natural nail growth and my natural nail, of course. And then that way it'll kind of match my other nails a lot better anyways. Now we're going to start our encapsulation process, and I'm using a small bead of clear acrylic, very, very wet, and I just start dabbing that into the surface of the flower, and it's going to help really just spread into all of the creases. You want to make sure there's no air bubbles, so you just want to tap away and make sure that it is nice and wet so that it just flows into all those little areas. And then at this point, I go in with a second layer. Once I'm done with that second layer, that is the building stage, and that's when I'm really going to focus on adding the thickness that I want to my nail. And of course the apex area. But always remember to scrape the sides, tuck in those sides so that your shape doesn't get overly messed up. And because you are encapsulating, you really, really want to focus on the sides as well. Now I did end up filling in the rest off camera. I start cramping up in this position, so I had to take a little bit of a break, but I still wanted to do my nails very quickly. Now we're going in with our filing process. I'm using my Kiara Sky e-file at a speed of about 10,000 RPMs. And then along with that, I'm using this rose gold medium grit 5-in-1 bit. It is extremely old, and I make sure I mention this because you may get a different finish with a new one. And I'm just going very quickly and carefully around that cuticle area. The goal with this bit is to get the acrylic nice and flush to my natural nail. And then we're gonna go in with hand filing. I love hand filing sculpted nails. I feel like it's just so rewarding when you form them and then you hand file and you get that perfect shape. I love it. So now going into that process with the Tammy Taylor peel and stick file, I first start off by filing the sides, slightly go underneath as well, just in case I curved it a little bit. And then I'm just filing that tip. And then we're gonna go very, very quickly on the surface of the entire extension. I go vertically up and down just because I feel like I have better grip and grasp of all of that. And then I'm gonna go ahead and repeat that on the rest of the nails. And then we are going to be buffing and starting our nail art. And then of course we're just scoring off those tips, making sure that that shape is nice and crisp. Going in with my Kiara Sky buffer and buffing away. We're going to be making sure that that surface is nice and smooth for our nail art application. Now taking the Kiara Sky lint free wipe and a little bit of Young Nail Swipe, you can also use alcohol or you can wash your hands thoroughly with water. I'm going around that cuticle area, making sure that I'm getting all that dust out, cleaning the entire surface, and then on the clear nails I'm going underneath as well because of course we want it to be nice and clear. Now, like I said, I had no idea what I wanted to do, and then I was like, you know what? Something simple, something that just brings the design to life. And I figured orange is my go-to. I absolutely love orange. It is like my favorite color for the summertime. So I'm using this neon orange from the Frosting Gel Paint collection from Profiles Backstage. And then I'm using this brush from Not Polish. It is one of the two-sided brushes, and I'm using the longer liner end of it. And I'm just gonna be doing one straight line down the nail vertically. And then I didn't know if I wanted to add it onto the ones that I had flowers on. And I said, you know what, let me try it. And I did. And I really, really liked it. Now, you guys know I love my matte nails. And this would look so bomb if you had the background matte and then the neon orange line shiny. But I was like, you know what? I'm already doing something out of my comfort zone. We don't do shorter nails. And I figured I would just go in with Gloss It. So I went ahead and cured that into my light, left it in there for a full minute. I always leave my gel paints curing for a minute or more just to make sure that all of those layers get fully cured. And if you are having issues with the clear nails not being super clear, always flip the hand around and put a little bit of top coat underneath. That's going to solve all of your issues. But for my own nails, I'm just going to go ahead and leave them like that. Just coat the surface, place it in the light for a full minute. I like to do 2 just to be safe. But that basically concludes today's video. Let me know what you guys think down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys learned a ton, and I'll see you guys next time.